Sirenia, the 13th Floor, 9 tracks, 42 minutes, the 4th studio album from the Norwegian gothic metal band, which seems to primarily be a solo project with revolving members. Released January 2009 by Nuclear Blast. Produced by the main man, Morten Wieland. Recorded at Sound Suite Studios. Just the one single was released, The Path to Decay. This album peaked number 67 in Switzerland, number 87 in Germany, and number 127 in France. This is their first with Spanish vocalist Ellen, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and also features Jan Kenneth Berkved and Stephanie Valentin on this one as well. Go for it.
This one was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this, and I'm fair to say probably my favourite album of all time to feature an X Factor contestant. So
there you go.
There's a statement, if ever there was one. Certainly not as symphonic as some of the other ones we've covered, so that probably, sat in the mix a lot more comfortable for an old rocker like myself, so I could just sort of sit back and actually quite enjoyed it. A really heavy guitar sound, which I really liked. I was just sort of sitting there with a smile on my face going, Jesus, if I wish I could make that sound happen, that was cool. A much more subtle use of strings, which I find suits this style of music better, for me. My taste, probably more than anything else. The synth, the strings and the choir don't overpower the metal. Yeah. And some of the ones we were talking about earlier, where all the guitars and stuff were too far back, and it didn't feel like I was listening to a metal album. I was listening to something else. So this was a lot more comfortable for me, and I preferred it. I love that description, goth metal, which is probably better than a symphonic thing. So because you do have that gothy, doomy, black sounding, rather than conjuring up images of pixies and fairies and shit like the other ones there.
Says the guy who voted for Dreamboat, ain't he?
No, different vibe altogether. This will never be my favourite album, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. And the highlights were The Path to Decay, The Mind Maelstrom, Winterborn 77, and Sirens of the Seven Seas.
Okay. Now, I've heard of this band before, but never really given any time until now. Just not one of those ones I've had it's been on the radar, but never really focused on it. Now, this review is a bit different because it's going to basically take you through my experience of listening to it through it. So, it starts off with, I could almost cut and paste my Epica review here, but I won't. Ooh. Here we go. We're going to be contentious again, you and I think. For an album that has a choir, a violinist, and whatnot all around that, this sounds extremely digitised to me, especially in the drums. I have a very hard time believing the drums are real on this. Far too snap to the grid. Also, this one is falling into using fake synth to emulate strings, and it doesn't come off that well, especially considering there's an actual real violin in this later on. More than anything else I've reviewed in a while, this feels truly like a vanity project, and not in a good way.
Wow.
Apart from being too digital, the production overall is good. It's got nice depth and space, and even blend and things. It has a bit of meat to it as well, which is nice by comparison with Epica, which I think is also in relation to the guitar tone. That gives a bit of balls to it. It's just, for me, it was an odd decision to take fake strings on some tracks and yet have a good violinist with a great sound on other tracks. It just, that juxtaposition just didn't sit well with me. Along with there's a choir and all the vocals and stuff as well. The real violin, the choir, the vocals are all captured nicer, but for that to be there on some songs, but it to be digitised, like digital choir, digital strings, it's just, why wouldn't you get the real thing in the whole fucking lot? It sounds better.
Expensive.
But he's already doing it, so what's the fucking point?
I think because it's further back in the mix, it didn't bother me as much, because that is the kind of thing that normally shits me, as we discussed in the past. But because it was a bit further back and the guitars were at the front, I'm like, all right, I'll suspend disbelief. But
you know me, I tend to take the whole thing as a soundscape, and it's like I start picking holes in shit very quickly. It's a penchant of mine, in case you don't know by now. Again, I don't like the harsh vocal on this. Another one that's just there for the sake of it. But on the flip side, Aileen has a really nice voice.
She does.
X Factor contestant or not, she can fucking sing. Maybe a little bit too nice and innocent sounding, but she does sound pretty good overall. And I would love to hear these nice vocalists just give it something. Just fucking put the boot into it, for fuck's sake. She does get into it here and there, which is cool. Just wanted that for the whole album, not just bits and pieces. The lyrics, though, are pretty well crafted. Decent stories being told in the songs. There's good track order and diversity as well. All in all, this does grow on you. Over the journey, it gets better the deeper you get into it. So I found myself enjoying this more and more once I got settled into it. Morton actually has a really decent, clean vocal. Surprised to find that, and it makes the growling even more obtuse in my mind. Like, I just don't get why he growls when he has a nice, clean voice that actually fucking works.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it. He's also got this trick, which is halfway between, like the growl and the clean, and it works well as well. I just don't get why he went
full growl.
Full growl.
I never understand that.
He just never. The other anyway, like the halfway above that, and he's clean. Fucking fantastic. They work, but the growl was just. Now you're pissing me off. Like, it just doesn't work. I'm sure I'll have more hate mail coming from this one, so. There is some really cool composition on this, some nice mid-song changes with things like acoustic guitar. Those elements shine, and there are some fucking cool riffs on this as well. Like I said before, the confusing thing about synth choir sounds, I don't get it. But there are some pretty cool different things going on this, which is keep you more locked in than you find on other albums of the same sort of style. Some very nice vocal harmonies on this as well. There were some really cool harmonies. And there is some very nice guitar work on this at points as well. Very nice. The guest spot from Jan Kenneth Berkvedt is pretty good too. It adds something a little bit different on the last track. And once you get past all the confusing elements that I was talking about before, it's actually not a bad listen at all. It's a mixed bag for me, but I'm at least now curious about checking more of the band out than I was before we started. So I gave it a 7 out of 10. The Seventh Summer, Lucid Door, Beyond Life Scenery, and Sirens of the Seven Seas. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.